Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and I'm returning to Buzz Aldrin's Space Program Manager for part 8 of my Let's Play. We've moved into quarter 2 of 1969. We just had a tragic accident at the end of quarter 1 of 1969. We lost several astronauts, 3 to be specific. If we go in here to the fallen flight crews, we can see that we lost our first astronaut back in 1960, so about 9 years ago, in a test flight of the kind of space plane, the space shuttle-like vehicle that the Russians had. We also lost an astronaut in Voshkara 2, I believe it was, Andrei Yasensky, and then we lost 3 astronauts here, Vladimir Lekov, Sergei Dumpkin, and Anatoly Erasmistev, I'm not sure about the pronunciation on that one, in the failure of the first launch of humans in the Soyuz N1 program. So our moon visions have taken a little bit of a step back. We're still doing well in terms of prestige, doing incredibly well in terms of finances. We should probably get to work on hiring some more flight controllers. Since I'm basically flush with cash, I think I'm just going to go ahead and hire a whole bunch of flight controllers so we can just get some people really high up by the time we go into the moon in terms of their technical abilities. It might be too late for that. You know, we're almost to 1970 already, so just getting guys and starting to train them when it's going to take like a year per training may not be the best route to go, but I think that's the route we are going to go. We can hire up to 9 people, so it looks like we can probably hire pretty much everybody, regardless of skill here. Okay, almost everybody. So we go ahead and hire all of those people. You can see our available cash only fell by about 200, so these guys really aren't all that expensive. They'll go through basic training first. We're going to do the same thing with astronauts. We're just on a spending spree. That's what we're going to be doing. So yeah, we're going to just kind of spend as much as we can, considering we can hire every single astronaut that we had available. Probably because we just lost 3, so anyway. And then we're also going to do we just do that with flight controllers? I think we're already maxed out on our scientists. Yeah, we are. So anyway, that's maxed out. If we take a look at our, well, that's Mars, my bad. If we take a look at our lunar program here, a short duration lunar program, I'm not sure where we are in terms of research. We've already opened this program. So where are we at for research here? The current reliability of the capsule, 97%. So that's already above max. The N1 rocket is at 92%. So we really don't have any scientific openings there. If we drop down to the lunar landing route, I believe we may have some mission components we can R&D here, but we're already maxed out there. LK lander. I don't know what we've done as far as research on that. Pretty much everything's maxed out there also. We could use some more research on the docking mechanism. That hasn't been progressing as well as I'd like. So go ahead and throw these scientists in here. Still going to have 2 scientists left over, not really doing anything. The LK lander could use those scientists, I suppose. So we'll go ahead and get them to work on that. Meanwhile, our RV suit's also being researched as well. So yeah, I'm kind of without direction at this point. We've got all our scientists assigned now. I think what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get some of our astronauts into advanced training, since I don't think we're going to be launching another mission for a little bit. I think balance is important for the astronauts themselves. The flight controllers can specialize more, but the actual astronauts should be more balanced in terms of training. So we'll go ahead and get these guys in here. Fitness science are good at all that for the most part, except EVA, not good at. So if we're going to send you to the moon, you need to be good at that. And I guess we'll make you an expert pilot. Again, it does mean we're probably not going to launch any manned missions for a little bit, but probably the route we need to go just given the disaster that we had. I want our next one to be successful. We're still ahead of the Americans, although I'm worried that the Americans are going to catch up, if only because of where we're currently, committing all of our astronauts to training as opposed to flying these missions. But anyway, that's what we're going to do here. I'm focusing heavily on piloting. I'm hoping that'll be a key success factor for us in any future mission. Piloting and leadership seem to be the most important, or some of the most important elements in an astronaut's skill set. At least that's the way it would appear when you launch missions. So we've got all that taken care of. Can't really train any scientists right now because they're all working. We can make sure our flight controllers are trained. Let's go back and see where we're at, if we have any missions we want to launch. Have we done the Venus probe yet? We have not. Program's already opened. We can use the Proton. What is the reliability? 89%? Alright, so I guess we're going to do a Venus probe. We get all our best guys assigned here. We've got some really good flight directors and whatnot. So one mission going for that. I wonder if we don't do our Mars probe as well. I think that thing's fallen behind because of some failures, but no. Mars 2 orbiter and lander. Is this program opened? Yeah, it is. 89% component reliability. So we'll go ahead and schedule this one as well. The crew for this one is going to be not quite as good, although spacecraft systems and navigation are pretty darn good, so is experiments. So actually the only thing that's going to be a step down is boosters, and hopefully it's a reliable enough flight. So we're going to be launching 2 missions, Mars 2 orbiter and lander and mini rover, and the Venus probe. Hopefully, we don't really need the prestige, but we've got a lot of money, and it should give our flight controllers some experience. Meanwhile, since we're training all of our crews, and since we can do all of that with our flight controllers, we can do everything that we just scheduled, we're going to take our other flight controllers and get them up on training. So we're going to try and focus on their strengths. The people that we have here, we're just going to take whatever they're the best at and basically just improve them at that, so we can try and make a bigger impact on whatever we want to do in the future, so we can have more specialists, if you will. And fewer weak spots. Since we've already got enough to launch 2 manned missions by the time anyone's out of advanced training, we'll be back with our astronauts coming back from advanced training. So it might be, I am taking a little bit of a gamble at this point to go ahead and do that, just because we are, again, 1969. I don't know how far away the Americans are. I think they might have orbited the moon. I don't really remember. So hopefully not. Some of these guys are really crappy. But again, all we need to do is find one strength, one strong suit for everyone to get them really good at, and then that'll help us a bit. Okay, seems like propulsion is something we're already pretty strong on, so I don't know if I should be throwing these guys into that. Trajectory is an area I feel like I don't have too many guys who are really good at it, so spacecraft systems is another area that we could probably have more really good guys at. Payloads and crews. This guy's really good kind of all around, so I might just improve his trajectory and make him more of a mission controller. And trajectory. All right, well that takes care of that. So all those guys are in training. That just about ends this turn. Let's go ahead and get ready to launch. So you can see here our research on EVA suits is going well. The N1 rocket's already pretty reliable, but we're making progress on that. And all of these other programs, docking's probably the furthest away from being ready. And we'll go ahead and proceed. We've got 2 missions. We'll get a lot of prestige if they succeed. We won't lose too much if they fail. So go ahead and launch this one from mission control. And hopefully we have as much success as the Orion flight, which just happened a couple of days ago, actually. The U.S. launched the Orion space capsule. I've seen a lot of people commenting on it. I don't know how loud this is. I hope it's not too loud and over obscuring what I'm saying here. But seen a lot of people commenting on it. I don't think a lot of people realize that the rocket that launched the Orion is not the next manned rocket. It's just the capsule up top, just the little bit that houses the astronauts. And it had its first test flight the other day. It was an uncrewed test flight launched by a Delta IV Heavy, which is currently, I believe, the most powerful satellite launch vehicle. It's not a man-rated rocket, so it would never launch actual astronauts. It's just a satellite launch, but since there was no one on board, and since it's the best heavy launch vehicle we currently have, that's what was used. Interestingly enough, SpaceX is actually working on a Falcon Heavy, which is a more powerful version of their Falcon 1 rocket, which should make its first launch next year. That can launch over 50 tons into low Earth orbit, which, well, it doesn't sound like a lot, is more than a fully loaded 747, I believe, and will be the most powerful launch vehicle since the Saturn V rocket, which obviously took us to the moon. So there's a lot of developments going on right now in space exploration, which is really cool, and I hope that progress continues. The Orion project is a little bit, and I'm glad to see that mission was successful. The Orion project's a little bit concerning to me because it's actually the follow-on from the Ares space program, Ares and Constellation program, which were canceled after one test flight of that rocket like 5 years ago. It was just going to be too expensive. Now the launch vehicle that's being worked on is called the SLS, Space Launch System, which eventually, the later versions of it will be even more powerful than the Saturn V and will be able to take humans to Mars. But I think, and that's where the Orion comes in. It's the space capsule that's designed to take astronauts beyond Earth orbit for the first time since the 70s. But it's a little bit concerning to me because the first launch of the SLS, which actually has just begun fabrication, earlier this year, I believe, so it's starting to be made. But the first launch of the SLS won't take place until 2018. So to have a 4-year gap between the first launch of your test capsule and then the first launch of your rocket of 4 years seems kind of concerning. And more so than that is the second launch of the SLS and third launch of the Orion won't take place until as early as 2021, probably later if we're being realistic. The first launch was supposed to happen in 2017, but that was pushed back tentatively to 2018 because of budget constraints. So I'd be surprised if the actual first manned launch, which is scheduled for 2021, happens there. And it seems kind of concerning that your first test flight happens and there's a 4-year gap between that and your rocket being ready. That's somewhat understandable. But then after that, there's another 3-year gap between that and your first launch of humans on board this craft. And then after that, there's another 2-year delay before the next launch. So there's just too much time that's going to be taking place because NASA just doesn't have the budget to do what it wants to be able to do. Its budget's, I think, something like half of what it was in the Apollo days, and they're trying to do, the same sorts of things, adjusted for inflation, of course. But good to see there, successful launches all around. We don't really have anything else we can do at the moment, so we're just going to go ahead and jump ahead to the next season here. We've got all our scientists busy. We've got all our launch crews or our mission control crews either training or involved in currently ongoing missions. So we'll just go ahead and proceed to the next turn here as the Venus one continues its trek toward Venus. It's a six season mission though, so might take a little bit of time there. Or the whole mission takes place in 6 turns, although it looks like it made it to Venus already here on turn 2, so that's good. 1,800 prestige gained. More successes for the Soviet space program, comrade. Venus orbiter. And the Mars mission, which we've had fail several times, is entering its 2nd turn. Although I don't think we failed with the actual Mars orbit or lander, more so the Mars orbiter. I mean, we did do the lander once, and it failed when it landed, I believe, is what happened. can see there it's starting its descent. Success. Landing and deployment. Success. And surface operations. So the rover. Success. All right. Orbital operations. I didn't realize there was one more to come. Still success. All right. So good missions all around. Good experience gained by all involved. Another successful landing of a probe on another planet. So good to see that we've done that successfully here. And we've got more flight controllers graduating from basic. We've also got missions in progress. We can also now do the Mercury probes because of the successful missions there. We have some flight controllers coming out of basic, but we're going to want to throw them directly into advanced training because they're not going to be any good just brand new. So we'll just have to kind of figure out what their specialty is going to be since none of them are very good at anything. I don't know. Again, it's probably too late at this point to count on getting much out of anything of these guys before the game ends. I mean, we're already into, what, quarter 4 of 69? So I guess we'll see. We'll see how useful any of these guys are going to end up being. But hopefully they're useful. That guy's great. Oh, wait, is he in a mission right now? No, he's available. Did one of our missions end? I could have... No, they're all still going. He must have just come out of advanced training for something. So great at trajectory, great at propulsion. Spacecraft systems and cruise and payloads are a little bit weak, but who cares about that? I don't know if this will make him a better flight controller, but I'm going to take a flyer there and see about... Maybe it's a waste of time, but he's already so good at one, I don't really need to worry about making him too good at another. Again, just trying to focus on the areas that people are already good at, where they've got maybe a competitive advantage, so we're not wasting too much time with anyone. That guy's ridiculously good at propulsion, 95. I guess in that case there's no point in investing in propulsion, but we'll just kind of give him a backup field, being really good at trajectory then. And... okay, last one to look over. Oh, everyone's assigned. All right. So back to the grind. The Mars mission should be ending this turn as we are about to enter 1969. We are well above the projected max prestige level to get our max budget, so that's good to see. And we should have some astronauts coming out of training after this next turn, so we can maybe try our first N1 flight, or not our first N1, but our first manned N1 flight here to get it going toward the moon, which I believe the Americans already have some progress on it. So we'll go ahead and just resume this mission, which is only about halfway through its life cycle. Success there, so it's got 3 more turns till that one will be done. And then the Mars mission, which should be finishing up here, so hopefully it's a success and we can close that program down, get some, I don't know, scientists assigned to other things. Surface operations are a success, and orbital operations also a success. Okay. So the Mars operation is a success, and Mars is all but shut down as far as, you know, our need to do anything there. Study of Martian soil is complete. So the opposing factions have successfully done a uncrewed orbital flight type A. Apollo uncrewed orbital flight. So that's not good. Meanwhile, they've also done a Mars probe and a deep space probe. So we're already ahead of them on that. So the Apollo one is more what worries me. We're still way ahead in every other regard. You can see there are Prestige our funds took a hit here in early 66, but they've been steadily growing ever since. And Prestige as well on the upswing. We've fully recovered from that disastrous flight as we're into 1970. So we've got 20 flight controllers who are now available. Wow. And 11 astronauts. First of all, let's manage the programs here. We can go ahead and close down the Mars 2 lander. Oh, how do I... No, go back. Back. No. Manage programs. X, close program. Yes. Okay, so that program's done. And I don't know if we need to do a Vashkadad program. We might want to. Because we haven't done any... let's see here. What's this one? Low Earth orbit. Uncrewed suborbital test flight. Do we really need to do suborbital flights? Can't we just skip that and go to orbital? Is this the one we failed on? I don't even know. Done an uncrewed orbital flight. Is this the one everyone died on? Cosmonauts required 3. So we got 2 options for that. Alright, select rocket. We're going to do the N1 flight. Schedule a mission. Assemble now. And, oh, really? 82 is our best booster guy? Huh. So, I'm being lazy and just assigning everyone here. We've got a lot of really good guys. Some of our guys are currently assigned to that Mars probe. So, in general, pretty good. Flight's pretty weak at 65%. But all the other guys are pretty darn solid. Only 2 guys below 70%. So we'll confirm those assignments. And we'll have a pilot and 2 guys at 70%. So I don't know if we really want to do this flight or the 3-man flight. But I guess we'll go ahead and do this. It's probably cheaper. You know, why am I doing that? Let's see here. If we do a 3-crew ballistic capsule, this is the one that failed. So we already did an uncrewed suborbital. Let's go ahead and actually we can go back to the mission control area and we can scrub this mission. So we'll do that. And we'll go back and we'll schedule a 3-man crew ballistic capsule because that's the next race to the moon. And let's see here. Can we do a crewed orbital flight? What is currently below 80%? I don't know. It's not the N1 rocket. Why is this thing so low? Are we not? Oh, it's because we're not using it, are we? We're using the Soyuz 1K or whatever the Lunar one is, right? Yeah, we're doing the 7KL1. So we don't... But then we use a different one. We use the 7KLKOK for the lunar land. Oh my goodness, they're too similar. They're hard to tell apart. Do we have any scientists available now that we did that? Yeah, we do. Okay. So first of all, we need to get that lunar duration mission up and its R&D components. Because apparently... What? But that... No. So the 7KLOK spacecraft is being researched. I'm so confused. What the hell? Okay. Oh my god. I guess we need to research this thing. I'm so confused over what the hell is... It could be easier. There could be a better tech tree, I would say, to kind of explain... Oh, what am I doing? To better explain some of this stuff. I don't even know if I need to do this, because I'm not even using this spacecraft. I'm just using it for orbiting the Earth. So what do I want to do next? We've done an uncrewed suborbital. Let's just do an uncrewed orbital for it, because I don't want to risk astronauts on something that might blow up. And if the spacecraft isn't reliable, you know, maybe we can skip it if we want, if it doesn't work out. But it should give it a big boost in terms of its reliability to have a successful mission. So we'll go ahead and confirm those assignments. I don't know if we've got enough flight crews left over to do another mission. But let's see if we can do a... I guess I'll just do the 2-man crew, because apparently, for whatever reason, the 2-man ballistic capsule is the same one that we take to the moon or something bizarre like that. Or I guess we can do a uncrewed orbital flight of whatever the heck this thing is. I don't even know what I'm doing. So apparently we need 11 flight controllers. Lame. What if we do Voshgod? We haven't done a spacewalk yet, have we? We don't have enough flight controllers. No. Alright, well, we'll just do the one mission then. Blah, 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 blah. Proceed. So, continue resuming that. When that thing's finally done, we'll be good. But we're so far behind. We're going to need to do like 2 and 3 missions a turn to try and get ahead. We were so far ahead. It was just poor planning on my part and a little bit of bad luck that caused us to fall behind. I wouldn't say we're behind in the space race yet, but we're certainly behind in getting to the moon. So we already launched this one crew, this particular capsule successfully once as an uncrewed suborbital. I believe the orbital flight is what people died in. So far, the N1's been a remarkably reliable rocket. Yeah, anyway, as I was mentioning, the SLS and the Orion program just seem really dangerous. You know, they're almost overly optimistic in that when you're only doing one mission every 3 or 4 years, and you're not even able to fund at that level, any kind of serious space exploration, it's going to be difficult to do with those kind of intervals. You really need to see NASA get a big funding increase, over what they have right now. Actually, interestingly enough, Congress in the last spending bill approved a budget that I think it was like $400 million more than what the president had recommended, and a little bit more than what NASA had asked for. But still not anywhere. I mean, a couple $100 million is enough for maybe like an ISS launch through the Russian Soyuz program, but not really much else. It's going to cost each SLS launch. If they're doing more than one launch a year of the big new rocket, it'll cost about $500 million a launch, projected $500 million a launch. If it's just one a year, it might cost $1 billion a launch, which $500 million a launch when adjusted for inflation, I believe, was, or whatever they're projecting it to be, would actually be less than the Apollo program launches, but NASA's budget was also more than double what it currently is during the Apollo program, so But anyway, so this particular thing so far has gone all right. I think the landing is when it failed. Okay, so an uncrewed flight was successful. Good to see. Should you get... Oh, no, come on. Recovery. What do? Just lose it in the desert? There we go. What? Okay. Everything went great. We lost it. What? All right, so successful uncrewed orbital flight. I guess that's where the Apollo program was on the last alert we got. So maybe we just caught up. Because I think that's the one that we're going to the moon with, but it's so hard to keep all those numbers straight. Okay. All right. So that's done. It's quarter 2 of 1970. We've been going for about 30 minutes here. I appreciate you tuning back in. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up here. A pretty positive episode. No manned launches, but we're getting a little bit late in the tooth. We're already into 1970 and we haven't done anything near the moon. So I'm going to go ahead and save this game. Got a few going on. I'm trying to remember. I think it's slot 3. And I appreciate you tuning in here. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.